from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next only, yeah, I am fresh to death.
Welcome back to the Long Haul Mentality. I'm your host, as always, Nick Bagley. And this week, sorry to disappoint. It's just me. Sometimes when I'm doing these, like trying to find guests, sometimes I just don't feel like bothering people, if I'm being honest. And trying to coordinate schedules and whatnot can be difficult. And I just didn't have anybody lined up this week. I had my son 2 weekends back to back, and it's just a lot of energy put into him. And sometimes I just didn't put any effort into trying to find somebody. And at the same time, like, I don't want to just bring people on just for the sake of bringing people on. Like, I want to be interested in the conversation. And, you know, I feel like a lot of the conversations end up kind of talking about the same thing, you know? And I want to make sure that I am giving you all good information, just solid content that covers a lot of grounds. I don't want to just talk about the same stuff all the time. So, you know, this, I want to do some more Q&As. Maybe I'll do them with guests, and maybe I'll just do them by myself. I have all the diet soda people freaking out drinking my Diet Dr. Pepper. But I wanted to make this like focused on one topic. And today, the topic was on my Instagram. So for anybody watching who doesn't follow me on Instagram, which maybe some of you, mostly I think, found me through Instagram. But the Q&A was on there, and it was about what are some mistakes that you see first timers make. And I have a number of different questions here, so I wanted to go through all these and just touch on them. And if I have any other pop in my head, maybe we'll go over those too. One of the first ones that I think is the best way to kick this off just says posing. And he is 100% right. Like, you really don't have to say anything else about that. It's, posing. Like, a first timer's mistake is not understanding how important it is to invest in posing. This is something, like, I've talked about this a number of times for myself. Like, this is a place where I wish I had invested more time. I wish I had invested more effort into it. And, to be honest, given a shit, you know? And if I do decide that I'm getting back on stage at some point, it will certainly be something that I do not take as lightly. But right now I'm just enjoying feeling like a bodybuilder again. But yeah, posing, like, it goes far beyond just like, oh, I pose. I take pictures of my poses once a week or twice a week or however many times a week you check in, and send it to my coach. It's like, it's not practicing posing. Trust me, that is not going to cut it when it comes to getting on stage. You do that once, twice, maybe 3 times a week. And say you did it every single day. Like, I know exactly what you're doing. You're getting in that pose, getting into the position, getting the screenshot, because you're probably taking video, or you're doing your clicker. You're getting it and moving on. You're not holding it. You're not working on it. You're not looking at things and tweaking it, playing with it. You're not trying to hold those positions for longer periods of time. So even if you did it every single day, you'd certainly be better than the person who does it once a week, but you're not going to be better than the guy who is taking 30 minutes to an hour every day to put effort into posing. At the same time, it's been a conversation that's come up on a couple of my podcasts here recently, is like, I believe that is one of the things that the 90s guys can 100% say that they were superior on, that I don't think anyone can argue with. It was posing, and not just from a standpoint of like, oh, they posed well, they choreographed good posing routines, but from the standpoint of like, they knew how to present their mandatories really, really well. And I can't, like, how many people have like the first name that comes to mind is like Good Vito, right? And like, one of the biggest knocks on Good Vito is like, oh, you got to change these poses. And that's one of the best people in the world. Like, he is one of the best bodybuilders in the world. And the feedback he gets every year is like, fix these poses. And yet he's still doing the same shit. So it's like, I forgot what I was about to say there. My brain just blanked, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you need to invest in. It's definitely something that needs to have effort put in. The next one is dealing with hunger / cravings post prep. Man, this is huge. Aiden Ortiz lifts. Thanks, man. That is a great question, or a great topic to touch on. It is very easy to make somebody understand that being locked in during the preparation for getting on stage is really important because there is something at stake, right? Like when for the most part, when somebody decides that they're going to get on stage, they're typically going to tell the internet, right? They're going to post something. And if they post something to a certain degree, they want to make sure that they don't look dumb. They want to make sure that they show up and look right and they represent themselves well. So it's really easy to get the point across to them that like you got to be locked in and ready to do this. What's much harder to get across to somebody is that like, hey, the post show period where that show's no longer lingering and you don't really have the food restraints anymore, and you realize that you have free will and the drive-throughs open a lot. Like that's a hard one to get across to people, and I think a lot of it just comes from like being a little bit lost after the first show. Like once you've done it a handful of times, you're just like, yeah, this is just the process. This is just part of it. Like I'll go through this and it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to eat the same foods and I don't want to feel like shit by stuffing my face full of garbage. But the first couple of times you do it, there's this big sense of like being lost, and people often go through a depression after their shows because that immediate goal is now gone. And it's the first time they have dealt with that immediate gone just being gone. You know what I mean? That immediate goal being gone. Man, I can't fucking speak tonight. So that's really one of the places that you kind of have to take your lumps. Like there's no amount of like I'll tell you for sure, like, hey, understand this is about to be very, very difficult. And we need to you can't go crazy because if you do, it's going to fuck things up and we're going to have to go through another diet phase before we can grow. I can certainly tell you that, but like until you get to that spot where like you are a bottomless pit and nothing can satisfy you for like a 4-week time period, like until you have experienced that and go through it, it's you can't understand. You know what I mean? So yeah, that post show hunger cravings post prep is the time when people really learn what discipline truly is, right? That is the time where I think discipline has to be on full display because there is no immediate goal. There are no immediate consequences other than kind of looking like shit and not liking how you look. It's not like you're getting judged a couple weeks after your show. So yeah, it's a very difficult thing. Now dealing with them, the first thing that people are going to want to say is, "Oh, just use Retta." And sure, you can, but if you just ran Retta for fucking, from what I've seen people doing, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever it is, even if it's at a low dose, you're gonna continue to run it. And then when do you pull it? Like, you know what I mean? There's just a rabbit hole, but you can certainly use Retta. And if you used a low dose and didn't use it for an extended, super long period of time, then yeah, cool. We can continue to run that. And that will definitely help. But to a certain degree, once you start getting that, once the reins are off and there's no more goal and you get that feeling, like it's kind of hard to stop. And I also don't like to I know we can push right a high, but I'm just not, I'm not sold. So the main thing here is like, don't fall off with vegetables. Like don't fall off with fruits and vegetables because you're going to have sweet cravings. You're going to have this bottomless pit in you. And if all you're eating is carbohydrates and just kind of getting your protein in here and there and not eating your vegetables and whatever, because your main thing is going to be like sweets. You're going to want to have sweets, or you're going to want to have like salty stuff like chips and whatnot. If you start just going down that rabbit hole of like, I'm just going to smash as much food as I can, like you're going to end up in a bad place. So don't forget about the vegetables because that's going to add bulk to the food. It's going to make it harder for you to get through all at one time. And it'll make sure that it's not just running through your system. Something that some people will do is like pumpkin filling or pumpkin. Just pumpkin in the meal, because it's a lot of volume and very little carbs, but it's a lot of fiber and it'll add bulk to the meal. So you can certainly just do that. But we also want to make sure that we are like using that time period appropriately. So after a show, I want to raise calories fairly substantially, as long as we can, as long as we didn't do anything ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I want to try and get food up relatively fast. I'm not going to go aggressive, but my first and foremost thing is, let's get that appetite under control. Then from there, I can pull back and let things relax, get some glycogen and water off, that sort of thing. In that time period of like 6 weeks where that appetite is out of control, even if we gain weight really rapidly through just eating clean food, there's going to come a point where it slows down, and then there comes a point where I can pull food back and we can drop some of that extra water. So like, I'm not worried. Like, as long as we are tracking blood pressure and those kinds of things, and that's staying fine, I'm okay if weight comes up fast, in the context of trying to get you to stop wanting to stuff your face. Hopefully that makes sense the way I said that. So, and we can focus on, like, it doesn't necessarily just have to be how many carbs can we put in you. We can bump your protein up, which is going to help you be more satiated. You're going to be really sensitive to food during that time, so more protein can get absorbed, and we can utilize that time to rebound and put on some tissue. Higher fats is going to satiate you. It's going to help get your hormones back to a good place. It's going to make sure that the stress that your body went through is better tolerated with higher fats. And then we can add carbs as we need to add volume and add fuel to the system that needs to be pushed. You know what I mean?
Going to take a quick break from the podcast to bring a few things to your attention. First off, as I was going through the YouTube analytics, I noticed that almost 70% of my watchers are not subscribed. So if you're watching this right now, please do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Every single time I get a new subscriber, comments, likes, and shares, this helps spread the podcast more, and I really, really appreciate you guys. This podcast has no paid sponsorships, so the best way for you to support my channel is to support my sponsors. So Labrada Pro Series is my supplement sponsor. We have a full line of products with some new ones coming. The pre-workout is on the way right now, and the new Labrada Nutrition RTD pre-workout is about to hit the market as well. On top of Labrada Pro Series, I also have Gasp and Better Bodies, and then I also have Authentic Aminos. Please go support these companies. Use my code Bagley10 for Labrada Pro Series, Bagley15 for Gasp and Better Bodies, and Bagley for Authentic Aminos. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to the podcast.
So I'm not afraid to give people food. You know what I mean? But it is one of those things of like, after the show, I'm going to tell somebody like, hey, if it's a Saturday show, go enjoy yourself Sunday. Don't worry about your meal plan. Have what you want. Don't hurt yourself, and avoid dairy. You know what's too far. You are a grown adult. You know when it's like, maybe I shouldn't order that third course. So don't hurt yourself, but like, go have breakfast, go have a meal during the middle of the day, and then go have a dinner and have some desserts and that sort of thing. And then Monday, okay, back to diet. You can have one meal off. Tuesday, 100% back to diet. And then from there, we can just address it individually. Because some people from there, that's all they're going to need, because they're going to go, yeah, that day of food was really good, but my stomach kind of hurts and I don't want to do that. And then there's others who just can't fucking stop, and those have to be addressed in a different manner. So it really is, all of these will be contextual, but it's one of those things of like, if you are someone who is in your first prep, or looking to get into your first prep, you need to be more prepared for the post-show period than you were for the prep itself. All right, the next one from my client, the Dre Clark. Not being financially stable to even do a show is an underrated one. He is 100% right. People highly underestimate how expensive it is to compete. Not just hiring a coach, but I live in Texas, and I'm very privileged to have a lot of shows around me, regional shows. So I don't have to travel a ton, because a lot of my clients are here in Texas, and mostly I can drive to these shows. which is fantastic. But a lot of you are not in Texas, and maybe your state doesn't have as many shows, and maybe you have to travel out of state. You really quickly underestimate how much traveling, getting there will cost, whether you fly or drive or whatever, the stay, the tan, NPC card, entry fees to the show, photography and video, because who doesn't want content these days? Just all these things add up, right? And not to mention the grocery bill, the coaching bill, the posing coach, because we talked about how important posing is. Like, people really, really underestimate how expensive it is to do this. And I just told this to someone today. If your first question to me is how much is your coaching, I know that you aren't ready to pay that cost. I know you're not ready to pay how much I'm going to ask for. Plain and simple. Because you are leading from the front going, I wonder if I can fit this in my budget. Probably not. If that is your number one thought, like if money is so tight, you're like, maybe if he's really low, I can fit it in. The reality of it is anyone who's good at their job is not going to be charging you something that's going to fit into a very slim budget. So definitely make sure that you are financially prepared for it and be ready for all the things. Like, put money aside. And this is not, technically it is a plug, but I'm not paid by them or anything like that. And it's an app that I've been using since 2018. It's called Albert, and it it's connected to your account, and it draws money out of your account based on your income and outgoing money. And it will save money for you in different goals. So I've used that for a long time and set aside different categories of, like, I have one for a house. I have one for when I want to get more tattoos, and money just goes in there automatically. I don't even have to look at it. If I want to add extra money in myself, I can. This is something that would be really, I think, very important, is people being more financially smart, and not just like using your bank account and going, okay, well, I'll transfer this much to a savings account. Because the more you look at it, the more you pay attention to it, when it grows, you're like, oh, maybe I can buy this thing. Or, you know what I mean? Like, just set it and forget it. And that's what Albert has done for me. And it's been amazing. Like, it's never going to overdraft by any means. It's set. It has safeties on there, so it doesn't overdraft anything. And I literally just, maybe I look at it once a month and say, like, oh, cool, I saved this much. You know what I mean? Or if I really want to save a goal aggressively, if I'm trying to get a deadline very quickly, like, it's not set up to, like, hey, I want to save 10 grand in a month. Like, you can't set it like that. It's not going to save it that fast, right? So if you need to save a lot of money quickly, you can go in and go, like, I'm going to transfer this much. And I would do that every time I paid myself. I would go in and transfer something when I had an aggressive goal. So it works super well because it's something I don't look at all the time, and just set aside there, and it works great. So and that way you can go, cool, I want to save $5,000 for prep before I even start. And in that time, you're going to the gym and doing everything and getting prepared and building the muscle that you need in order to hire the coach to do well to get on stage, right? Save the money. Take your time. Don't be in a rush to spend all this money. Like, just keep lifting, just keep eating. You will get to a spot where you're more financially sound. It is way better to go into bodybuilding not being stressed about if you're going to be able to afford your coach or your grocery bill or your gym membership or whatever. It's way easier if you don't have to stress about those things, right? So being financially stable is 100% right. Very underrated. The next one, not booking tan and touch up early enough, and too much cardio too early, and 3, no coach. So Athena, thank you very much. She said 3 things in there. So not booking tan and touch up early enough. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you book that, because when those girls work hard, and girls, guys, whoever's doing it. I say girls because my Protan girls here in Texas are lifesavers. I have a few friends who work with Protan, and they are lifesavers for these shows. So shout out the Protan girls. But yeah, they set that schedule based on who is booked with them, and like, if you show up the day of the show, they'll get you in. But be prepared, and like there's nothing worse than showing up the day of the show going, oh fuck, I forgot to pay for this, or I forgot to do this. Like just knock it all out. Pay for the entry fee, pay for your photography, pay for your tanning. It should be all on the website for the show. They're all usually linked together because that's the number one question the promoters get. So who's going to do the tan? Who's going to do this? It's all on the website. So just look at that and just book it all at one time so that they go ahead and get you in a slot. And you're not having to worry about like, are they going to be able to fit me in? Definitely don't want to do that. And Jesus, unless you are prepared and have the knowledge to tan yourself, don't tan yourself. Unless you have somebody who knows what they're doing, just it's a bad idea. It really is. Get a professional to help you, especially the first few times that you do it, because you don't want to look like a dork and look muddy on stage. That's not a good look. Trust me. And then too much cardio too early. I get what you're saying here, but I'm also kind of a fan of pushing things early. So it's really a matter of how you set pushing cardio early. It's really a matter of how that approach goes. Like I made a post about my client Mackenzie and using a 3-part prep where the first phase is an aggressive fat loss. We have a maintenance phase in the period where we pull back, let our body relax. And then we have a second aggressive fat loss phase into the show to finish off the look. So with that, you could certainly use like all right, I'm going to push cardio really hard for in the first period. And then halfway through, I'm going to pull back, let her relax a little bit. And then I'll push it again hard at the end. So you can certainly do that. But like, yeah, if you immediately go like, all right, I'm going to start doing an hour cardio and then try, like you just escalate from there from the beginning of prep, you're not going to make a good place for sure. So it's all a matter of how that's set up. And then 3, no coach. Yeah, I think that's the biggest mistake that people make is thinking that they can do this themselves. And it's not even a matter of like, I think a lot of these people who do it themselves, I think they can get themselves in shape. I do. I think that the pressure is on them. They're like, I want to prove that I know what I'm doing. This like, cause they wouldn't be doing it otherwise. They wouldn't be doing it themselves if they didn't have a little like idea in the back of their head of like, I can do this, it's more or less that like there comes a point where you can push things too far. And that's what I typically see with somebody who coaches themselves. It's one or the other. It's never really in the middle with somebody who coaches themselves unless they are incredibly analytical and incredibly like, unless they can be very analytical and remove themselves from the look. You know what I mean? They don't attach their self-worth to how they look, and they can just go, this is what's happening, and this is what I have to tweak. Typically, you're going to see somebody either push themselves way too far or not far enough. And there's not really an in-between, like I said. Very few circumstances where that is the case. So it's just one of those things of like, not pushing yourself hard enough is very obvious. Like, yeah, just push harder. But when it comes to pushing too hard, it's a matter of like, well, what is too hard and how long is too hard? And I'm saying that too much, but yeah. So it's a matter of how far do you need to go, because it's not just about suffering all the way until the day you get on stage. It is not. And that honestly is probably the worst way to get the best look, is to suffer all the way to show. So having a coach to tell you when it's time to really push and what really pushing looks like, and then when it's time to really pull back and what really pulling back looks like. So I definitely agree there. And then Edwin, my man, he was a lifestyle client with me for a while. I don't know how you say your Instagram name now. Jesuis. Yeah. You'll see it on here. I'll put it on here. He said the same thing, doing too much too early, cutting calories, too much cardio, too much gear. So he went a little bit further than just the too much cardio too early. Yeah, 100%. Like I see this kind of stuff all the time of people doing things way too early that just doesn't need to be in play because they think that it will get them a better result. And just like it's like I've talked about a million times on here, just doing more isn't the answer. It's not about just like how much more can I do? It's about doing what is effective and what will actually move the needle on results. Like that's what matters, not just like doing more. Because the place where people end up in the worst positions is when they start a prep at however many weeks out, and it's just a linear trend down with food and a linear trend up with activity. Like when you see that all the way through, like from the very beginning, it's just pull calories, pull calories, pull calories, increase cardio, increase cardio, increase cardio, increase drugs. That's the people who end up in the worst positions, who have, like, once you've done that a few times, you end up in a spot where like you can't really make progress anymore, and your labs are probably fucked. So yeah, just like we talked about earlier, like definitely doing too much too early. And then this one we kind of already touched on, but again, another client of mine, Jesse. What up, dude? Hiring a coach that isn't you. That was mine. So yeah, if the last couple of questions about not having a coach, yeah, hire me. I do that. And then Mike Condell just put his podcast up this past week. So Mike Condell asking others what they think of your coach's plan. The funny thing is me and Mike are on the same wavelength here, because I put up this Q&A, he put this in there, and I had literally just scheduled a reel to post about that. It doesn't tend to happen too often anymore, and I think people are getting the point. You don't want too many people looking at this stuff, because look, Mike, the person who is asking this question, Mike is a great coach. Mike knows what he's doing. Mike is very good at training. He's an awesome guy. If somebody brought me his plan and it brought me a plan from him and I didn't have context, there's probably things to that program that I could go, that's probably not a good idea. And maybe that's not a good idea. But because I don't have Mike's input into what he was doing, how do I know that it's a bad idea? So like, I think that's one of the places that people get really confused, is like, if they don't have context to the situation, they could easily look at something that is on your plan and go, that's fucking stupid. And now you're doubting your coach. Now you doubt your whole plan. Now you're not bought in. Now you're going to get less results. And now you are, now you go and justify like, oh, he must have been right. Look, my plan's not working. It's like, no, your plan's working fine. You're not fucking working. You're not doing what I asked you to. That's the issue. You're not putting the effort behind this because this guy over here told you I was dumb, and now you doubt everything that I'm doing. That's it, plain and simple. And I think asking anyone else that doesn't have context and doesn't have your coach's insight is a stupid idea for sure. So Mike, that one, shout out to Mike. That was a great one. All right, we got a good number of them here. What to expect during each phase of prep. This one goes back, Sarah. I appreciate you. She asked a couple more questions, so we're going to have her up here a couple of times. Sarah's another client of mine. What to expect during each phase of prep. This goes back to what we talked about earlier with the post-show eating stuff. The first time you do a prep, I can sit here and tell you every single possible scenario ever about a prep, everything that could ever go wrong, and tell you, lay out all these things. And if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do that, that's going to happen. The problem is until you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to recognize. And that's why, again, we go back to the thing that two other people have said, is not hiring a coach. The coach is there to know when those things are popping up and go, uh-oh, we've got a problem. Let's fix this. And they'll see it way before you do. So where was I going with this? So the thing there is like, I can tell you all those of like, you should expect this during this phase. You should expect this. And I can lay out a couple of things here, but like, until you have gone through it, like, that's really the only way that you're going to know what it is, So in the first half of prep, so let's say we're doing a 20-week prep. From weeks 20 to 16, that's really like a clean out phase, right? That's really a time where it's like, all right, let's start reducing how many meals we have off plan. Let's lock in what our meal off plan is going to be, that something that fits well with your stomach, that doesn't cause a bunch of problems, that doesn't cause our weight to spike aggressively right after we have it, that doesn't cause inflammation, whatever. If we're going to continue to have some food off, let's start to reduce, like, all right, once a week, make sure it's clean. Let's make sure it's cleared with the coach first. We start to clean everything up. You start to not have an aggressive amount of sauces, and you start to like just clean up the little things that we all know that we end up doing, where you kind of like, yeah, I'll have a little of this, I'll do a little of this here. We clean all that stuff up and start to really lock in a routine of like, I'm getting my steps in aggressively. I'm getting my cardio in and really pushing myself. I'm getting locked in towards the gym. I'm moving towards being more efficient so that my body's ready to go and hit the ground running by the time 16 weeks comes. So 20 to 16, that's kind of what I'm looking for. 16 to 12 is when I want to see some fast change. Like I want to see us push down. I want to see your body really start to shift the needle towards like, all right, we're losing here. And during that phase, what you're going to see is you're going to lose a lot of glycogen. You're going to lose a lot of fullness and pop to the muscle. And the fat's not going to come off yet. It's going to take some time for that to happen. So typically in that phase, what you see is people get deflated and the body fat hasn't come off yet. And they're like, oh, why do I look worse? Just keep moving. Just keep moving forward. As long as training is going well, as long as we're checking the boxes the way we need to, you're eating the food the way we need to, this is exactly what I want to see. So from 16 to 14, at 14, you should start to be like, all right, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now, yes, I'm flat, but I'm starting to see body fat coming off. I'm seeing some changes here and there. 14 to 12. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm starting to see this. At 12 weeks out, from like 12 to 8, that is like your sweet spot. Like 12 to 8, 12 to 6. That is where everybody really enjoys prep. That's probably one of the best periods of time of prep because you start to look really good. You start to really like how you look. Your training intensity is good. Your pumps in the gym is good. Food is low, but not crazy low. Drugs is at a sweet spot. Like you're really feeling yourself, all that fun stuff. You're still sleeping good. You're not waking up super early and being wired and all that stuff. You're not like ramped up yet. And you're not starving as far as food is concerned. You're definitely hungry, but it's not like that dread of like, holy fuck, I'm so hungry. So that's your sweet spot. So you're really going to enjoy that. You're going to want a lot of pictures during that time. You're starting to get leaner, but the look is starting to come through and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel and go, yeah, I think this is going to be good. So you're really enjoying that. So we'll call it 12 to 6 weeks out, right? At 6 weeks out, something happens. the prep demons show up in the middle of the night and they take your soul. That's what happens at around that 6 week out mark is when people start to go, okay, here's the suffer, here's the suck. And I think a lot of what that is like you're now in single digit weeks and it's closing in and it's not that far away, but at the same time it is far away. You're like, oh my God, another day. Like, oh, okay, just go. It's almost here. It's almost here. It's almost here. It's like, it's that weird lingering stage. And I think that's where a lot of people get kind of overwhelmed, where it's like, it's almost here, but it's not. And I still have to put all this effort in. So it's like, oh, fuck. That's when I start to see people want to start breaking. That's when people start to really doubt, like, are we moving in the right direction? Am I doing enough? Do I need to push harder? Do I need to do X, Y, and Z? Like, what am I not? Like, that's when people start to have those questions and start to doubt some of this stuff, plain and simple. And then we'll say it's going to feel that way and progressively get worse from 6 weeks out till peak week. The week before peak week probably is going to be, depending on how your prep has been set up, it is either going to be a really easy chill week or it is going to be one of the worst weeks, because it is the week before things start to happen going into show. And everybody gets, even if there's no crazy protocol for peak week, everybody's excited for that last week. Everybody's ready to like, all right, yeah, it's coming. It's here. We're making some changes, this, that, and the other. We're going to start to manipulate stuff. I'm super excited to see what we do and finish the look. The last week, everybody's excited for. The week before that is the week that fucking sucks. And like, to be honest, up until like you start feeding for the show, peak week still sucks because nothing changes the first half unless you're somebody who has to eat really early before a show. Nothing starts to change until like Wednesday, Thursday. Some people maybe need to eat as early as Tuesday. But until it's like show day, that time period just sucks, because it's just, again, it's so close, but still so far, and you're still feeling like dog shit. And you're going to get food at some point, and you're anticipating getting that food, and you're anticipating getting the result, being done with everything. And that's when people really like it starts to drag, and people really start to like they're excited but still drained. And like your energy is gonna be in the shitter, and you're most days it's going to really suck to get out of bed and just exist. There's going to be plenty of times where you sit at the edge of your bed and have to contemplate standing and walking and breathing. But it's almost done. So you just got to keep pushing. You just got to hang in there. You put all that work in. And then the final bit there is just show day, showing up and having a good time and trying to stay calm. That's the hardest one, is keeping people calm during shows, but that's a whole nother thing. So I tried to run that down as best I could, and hopefully that sets some expectations for people. But again, until you do it, you're not going to understand. And then another one from Sarah: comparison to other athletes competing in your category. Yeah. There are a lot of people who can look incredible backstage, and then when they get on stage, things fall apart. Whether it's because they're anxious, or whether they didn't practice their posing, or whatever it might be, or they had some crazy protocol and they missed their shot. There's a lot of people who can look really cool backstage and look ginormous and freak you out, that you beat, and they don't look that great. There's also a ton of people who can be backstage and be completely unassuming, and then that motherfucker wins the whole show. So you can't judge anybody backstage. Don't judge anyone. Like, don't look at anyone. Who cares if they look good? You don't know what you're going to look like next to them, because you have prep goggles on, aka bodybuilding beer goggles. You do not think you look good. I promise. Like, you might be confident. You might be going like, I take that back. If you have done your job and you have enough muscle tissue and you got the body fat off, you should be like confident, but you're still going to be anxious. And everybody's going to kind of doubt, like, did I do enough, until you get up there and do it. And like, are the judges going to like, there's always going to be those thoughts that bounce around. So don't make it worse on yourself. The backstage experience, I think, gets, inflated to a more negative place because people are in their own bubble. And if you do not use that time period to get to know the people who are back there with you, you're gonna be a lot more stressed. Something that I've told a number of clients here recently is like, go talk to the guys you were about to line up with. Go make friends with them. There's going to be a couple assholes who don't want to talk to you and like are so super hyper focused, locked in, and like, respect it. If that's what they want, don't pester them, for sure. But like, you're also going to meet some people who want to talk and have a good time and whatever. And if they are in your class and you're about to stand next to them on stage, it's going to be a lot less nerve-wracking if you have talked to that guy, know his name, and go, that's a good guy. So like, let's go out there and have a good time. And whoever comes out on top is who comes out on top. If you can introduce yourself and talk to more people backstage, I guarantee you're going to have a better time. So don't compare yourself to other athletes, and just make friends, because you never know when maybe maybe you'll find a new coach backstage that is a guy who you competed with. Maybe you'll find a new workout partner. Maybe you'll find a new best friend. Like, just talk to people. Like, I think that's such a bigger conversation to go off of, but we live in a society where all relationships are built on our phone, and now AI is ruining that. AI is in the middle of it, and we're not taking the opportunities that we have to interact with other humans when we can. And I think it's a really good idea. So if you're really nervous backstage, go introduce yourself to the other athletes, and I guarantee they're not as scary as you might think. And it'll probably be a better experience if you walk away with some friends. Mindset adjustments and hacks. To be honest with you, Sarah, this is a tough one. And I don't know how to answer that one, because everybody's different. And, some people you're going to have to kind of like nurture a little bit. And then some people you're going to have to just like kick in the ass and go, hey, fucking figure it out. Like, it's different for everyone. So I don't really have any hacks. To be completely honest, there's people that have it and there's people that don't. And people who don't can find it, but they got to be willing to eat some shit for a bit. And I think anyone who is willing to hire a coach and execute on the plan and do as they're told and really do this bodybuilding thing, I think they have it. They have that. They at least can figure out how to get it, how to get that mindset that like this is what this requires. They can certainly figure out how to get it. And you for sure, Sarah, are one of them. But after having talked to a lot of different people during my time of working with people who say they want to get on stage, there's a lot of people who just, no matter how much I talk to them and no matter how many hacks I give them, they're not going to figure it out. Plain and simple. And then Aaron was a client of mine. Athletes consume massive amounts of sugar, i.e. jelly, tons of honey and candy backstage. Yeah. Backstage is its own place. Backstage is its own world and has a lot of crazy people. You'll see some wild shit, and you'll hear some wild protocols, and you'll run it into some characters. So just get prepared for the backstage experience. But yeah, the thing is like, if we did our job right leading up into the show and filling you out with just your regular food and whatnot, it shouldn't take us a fuckload of like sugar to get your body to come to life. It should just take like a little bit of water and salt and maybe a little bit of food to be ready, and yeah, sugar is a little bit of a different story because it does get into circulation quickly. But like, if you just take a bunch of sugar into your stomach all at one time, like, you can cause a bunch of problems. And then at the same time, the issue with like eating a bunch of sugar, depending on what the form of it is, before you go on stage, is we all know how shoddy timing can be at these shows. We all know that it can be a little like off, like they'll rush you and they'll go, you're about to go on stage, your class is going up next, and 35 minutes later you're like, are we going, or what's going on? So the problem there is like, if you mistime that, you could look soft, you could look worse, and if you didn't need more carbohydrates, it's not necessarily something that's going to help you. It's something that I do. It's something that I use with my clients and whatnot, but like, we have to time it right, and we have to make sure that everything's going according to plan, or else it can throw things off for sure. So I don't do the candy stuff. I don't do, I don't do anything that is out of what we were already doing in the plan. Maybe I will adjust some different fruits. So like, maybe I'll change pineapple for banana, or maybe I'll put dates in there that we weren't doing like on a regular, on the regular diet plan. Maybe we'll use something along those lines and maybe change some small things like that. But like, for the most part, it's not like I'm junk loading people. I'm not putting a bunch of food into their system that we have no data with. That's the main thing. And especially when it comes to like candy, like, you've gone how long without having it? We don't know what type of reaction your stomach's going to have to candy, like, and if you can't wait till after the show, like, it's a different conversation. So I don't do candy. Honey is typically what I'll go for. Typically works pretty well, and don't tend to run into issues with the timing stuff. Usually like honey will settle well, and like, it's not like we only have a short window for it to work. If we did our job prior to that, just a little bit of sugar before and like light pump up, if we're a little off on timing, we should be okay. So I like honey. That does work well, but yeah, it's definitely not you'll see people just pounding bags and bags of candy. Like, it's a little wild. So anyways, that is the last of the questions there. And I'm doing 45 minutes now, and it's time for me to eat my next meal anyways. So we'll just go ahead and cut that there. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. I've only done a couple solo podcasts, and I'm probably going to keep doing them just when I don't feel like scheduling or have an interesting topic to go off, or an interesting guest. I'll just do some of these. So we'll continue to do some more Q&As. So for anyone who watched this and enjoyed it, if you have any more ideas for Q&A topics with the podcast that you'd like me to deep dive on, by all means, let me know. I can already hear the people now. Something about a peptide one. It seems to be that like once you start talking about peptides, it's all people want to hear about is peptides. And yeah, I mean I can, but I'm not really that guy. I'm not really the one who's like aggressive into I don't know that I would have enough information for you on peptides for it to be worth it. Like I can tell you about them for sure, but like there's plenty of people who are way smarter about that stuff that you can listen to a podcast on than me. But anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you have another Q&A topic for me. If not, I'll come up with more on my own. So for anyone still watching, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, as I said, share it with your friends, and I'll see you on the next one.